Jake was still laughing at some dumb joke he'd made when we stepped out of his car and grabbed my duffel bags. The sun was low in the sky, casting that golden late afternoon light over the neighborhood I hadn't seen in nearly 2 years. It felt surreal. I was back home after 18 months deployed overseas, working in military intelligence under federal directive. My only plan was to surprise my wife and kids, a quiet moment, a hug, maybe a few happy tears. But less than 5 minutes after stepping foot on my own front lawn, I found myself squaring off with the most feared figure in the neighborhood, Deborah Winters, self-elected queen of the Homeowners Association, clipboard warrior, enforcer of lawn decor and trash Connecticut. The neighbors called her Karen behind her back, and I was about to find out why firsthand. The plan had been simple. My wife was out picking up the kids from school. Jake, my brother-in-law, was helping me sneak into the house to set up a modest welcome home banner, nothing flashy, just something small staked in the grass to give my return a touch of joy. I was still in uniform, having just landed hours ago, jet-lagged but buzzing with excitement. I approached the front door with Jake when that voice shattered the moment. "Excuse me. What exactly do you think you're doing?" Her tone was like a siren, shrill, unmistakable, and full of self-importance. Deborah came marching across the street like she owned the asphalt beneath her orthopedic shoes, clipboard in hand, pearl necklace swinging, her salt and pepper hair pulled back so tightly I could practically feel the tension in her scalp. Jake stopped in his tracks, but I kept moving toward the door. "Hi there," I said, doing my best to sound calm. "I'm just coming home to surprise my family." Her eyes narrowed suspiciously. "And you are?" she demanded, as if I were a trespasser. "James Parker. I live here. This is my house." She wasn't impressed. Instead, she pointed at the welcome banner Jake had just finished placing on the lawn. Section 7, Paragraph 3 of the HOA bylaws requires all yard decorations to be submitted for approval a full 14 days in advance, she said, practically vibrating with authority. "And that uniform, is this a costume party or something?" I took a breath. My wife had mentioned Deborah during video calls, warning me how she turned the neighborhood into her personal dictatorship, but I wasn't prepared for this level of pettiness. "Ma'am, I've been deployed for the past 18 months. I just want to surprise my family. The banner will be gone in a few hours." "Rules are rules, Mr. Parker, if that's who you really are," she said, crossing her arms. "And did you file an extended absence form before abandoning the property? And what about your lawn? We sent 3 violation notices last summer over grass height." Jake finally broke his silence. "Deborah, seriously? James has been serving our country. Can we just let the banner go? It'll be gone tonight." She wasn't moved. Instead, she pulled out her phone and began taking pictures, not just of the banner, but of me in uniform. "Please don't photograph me without my consent," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I've been traveling over 30 hours. I'd like to settle in before my family gets home." "I have every right," she shot back. "This is HOA property. You could be impersonating military personnel, which is a federal crime. Show me your ID. Prove you live here." I reached for my wallet to show her my credentials, but the moment she spotted the outline of my sidearm beneath my jacket, she let out a dramatic gasp. "Is that a weapon?" she screeched. I stayed composed. "Yes, ma'am, I'm a federal agent, currently active. I'm authorized to carry. Here are my credentials." I flashed my federal ID, hoping logic might prevail. It didn't. "A likely story," she snapped. "Costumes, fake badges, and now a concealed weapon. I'm calling 911. Jake's eyes widened. "Deb, come on, this is insane. My sister's been talking about his return for weeks." But she was already on the phone, reporting a suspicious armed man impersonating military personnel, her voice rising with each word, trembling with what I could only describe as excitement. I calmly took out my phone and began recording. Ma'am, I'm documenting this interaction. You're making false claims to law enforcement, which is a crime. I've identified myself. I've shown you valid credentials. Her face flushed red. Stop recording me. That's a violation of HOA privacy. Section 12, paragraph 7 clearly states, federal law supersedes HOA bylaws, I said evenly. And knowingly making false emergency reports is a federal offense. For the next 20 minutes, she paced on my lawn, phone still to her ear, embellishing her story to the dispatcher, claiming I was getting aggressive, implying Jake was some kind of accomplice. When the police finally arrived, 2 officers stepped out cautiously, hands near their weapons. I raised mine in plain view and identified myself immediately. One of them, a fellow veteran, took one look at my badge and snapped to a more relaxed posture. Agent Parker, he said with a nod. Welcome home, sir. Sorry about the welcome committee. Deborah wasn't done. This is outrageous. He still broke HOA rules. That banner is unauthorized. The officer turned toward her, clearly unimpressed. Ma'am, you called 911 over a welcome home egg? I called about an armed impersonator. Which we now know was a false report, the officer replied firmly. That's a criminal offense. Her face drained of color, then flushed with indignation. I was protecting the community. How was I to know he was real military? Anyone can buy a uniform online. The second officer, who'd been taking notes, looked up. According to Agent Parker's recording, he identified himself before your call. Is that accurate? Deborah faltered. He showed me something. I wasn't sure if it was real. I was being cautious. I stepped forward. Officers, I don't want to press charges. If Ms. Winters is willing to leave peacefully, I'd like to move on. My family's going to be home soon. They gave her a chance to walk away. She didn't take it graciously. This isn't over, she hissed. Expect a formal violation notice. The HOA board will be hearing about this. She turned and stormed across the street, rigid with indignation. I thought that would be the end, an unpleasant story, sure, but just a story. I was wrong. Within an hour, she sent a neighborhood-wide email, warning about unverified individuals claiming military affiliation and encouraging residents to report suspicious activity, clearly aimed at me. When my family finally pulled into the driveway, the sight of them running into my arms made it all fade away for a moment. The banner, the insults.